Welcome to Healthy Vegan Living. My name is Gary. Today what we're going to be making is a garlic rosemary bread maker bread. This is rosemary.
Welcome to Healthy Vegan Living, a whole food, plant-based lifestyle.
Hey, I'm preparing some garlic to caramelize it in the oven by baking it. So you cut the top off like I've done to this one. I'll show you. You want to be careful with garlic.
I need the onion, the bag is in the way.
You want to be careful with garlic because you don't want to cut your fingers. You lose just a little bit off the top, but it's okay. You leave the papers on it. Going to protect it during the baking process. And then you pour on a small amount of olive oil, like so. And I got to get some salt and pepper. The salt and pepper there. Okay, so I'm gonna put just a couple of turns.
I even can't see that.
Put a couple of turns of Himalayan sea salt. And not over too much pepper, but just a little bit.
What kind of pepper is that?
This is just peppercorns, regular black peppercorns.
Okay, and then what happens to it next?
And then we put it in the oven at 400, and we're gonna bake it for about 30 to 40 minutes until it gets soft and tender. And then we'll squeeze it into the loaf. So,
Now,
see you in a minute.
so what Linda is going to be doing is putting in the garlic in the oven.
Actually, I'll let you do the honors. The top oven is heating up. Could you put it higher up?
Like here?
That's fine.
Alright, see you in a little bit.
A No-Fuss Bread Machine Cookbook by Michelle Anderson. Original recipe, rosemary bread, page 45. What we've done is adjusted it to be vegan. I hope you enjoy it.
So normally what we do is we take our rosemary from our backyard. Like here's fresh rosemary, and this one's got rosemary flowers in it. And then we strip off the leaves, I'll be showing you that, and then you stick it in your bread, in the dry ingredient portion of your bread maker. So what you're going to need, you're going to need water, some kind of shortening. We're going to use vegan butter, pink Himalayan sea salt, bread flour. I get this at Stater Brothers, smaller container, use it up faster. Vegan sugar, organic cane sugar, and we're going to use FLEISCHMANN's bread machine yeast. Really simple, super easy. And I think you'll be using the regular white bread cycle, and I'm gonna go for a light crust. Okay, so let's get to measuring everything and getting all the appliances together.
Hi, so Gary harvested these sprigs of rosemary from in our garden. We know that they're organically grown because we put no chemicals on them. This one in particular has a lot of flowers on them, and I'm going to go ahead and mix those right in because they'll also impart a flavor. There's two ways that I strip off the rosemary off of the woody stems. So you can either use a knife, like so, and you don't want to get the wood in there, you only want to get the leaves and the flowers in this case. Or, for those of you who don't have as much in the way of knife skills, you can also just do these nice little small cuts with a scissor on really any kind of herb. And it makes using fresh herbs much more of a delight and much less work. So I'll show you how to chop it up after I have enough rosemary gathered for a tablespoon. Well, so far I just have a small amount. Here I'm going to strip it again with the knife because this is a good solid stem. Be watching out for your fingers. Now, when you're using fresh herbs, it's a little different than using the dried ones. So you have to adjust your recipe accordingly. If you can use dry rosemary, just be sure to chop it up nice and fine. Otherwise you'll have little sticks of rosemary in your bread. Okay, we'll be right back. So now I've got a good stack of rosemary here, and I'm going to just run my knife through it a few times. The nice tender parts of it, and if I see anything that doesn't look tender, I'm going to remove it, like right here. I don't like this piece. And get the rest of the rosemary off of it, and then dispose of the stick that's underneath. I want to get these nice and fine so they incorporate nicely into the bread. Here's where all the blooms are, is right here.
And what do the blooms do for it?
Well, it's, you know, another part of the rosemary that you can go ahead and use, and it's, you know, the flavor of a rosemary flower, which is basically about the same. All right, we're getting there, folks. Let's see if we've got a full tablespoon here. Yeah, I would say we're just right. Take the rosemary off the knife. And there we go. Here's our 1 tablespoon of rosemary to incorporate into the garlic rosemary bread. Thank you very much.
Now the recipe calls for
3/4 cup of drinking water.
Then we're going to use 2 teaspoons of melted butter. I'm using Earth Balance Organic, Non-GMO, Vegan, USA Organic. You saw Linda cut up the rosemary, and here it is right here. It's about 1 tablespoon. You need 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt. In this container are 2 cups of bread flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly sift it. And then after you sift it, you remeasure. Then you need 1.5 teaspoons bread machine instant yeast. Now I did want to show you that we purchase 100% Italian extra virgin olive oil for the garlic that we're cooking in the oven right now. And we used cracked bell peppers, and we purchased this also Himalayan pink sea salt. It's a grinder, also at Sam's Club. So this is basically the recipe. We're just gonna wait for the garlic to come out of the oven and put it all together. Really easy, super simple, not that many ingredients. Unless you want to doll it up, then it takes a little bit more time. Okay, see you in a few minutes. So it's time for the garlic to come out. You know it's cooked when it comes out from the top.
So you can tell, you put a fork in, and when your garlic comes out like that, you know it's done. It looks really caramelized and pretty on the top. And I went pretty light on the oil, so it's not very like oily or anything. Just really nice to use.
All right, so we're gonna assemble the bread. First thing you do is you put in your water, and then you put in the butter.
Okay, and I'm gonna squeeze out enough garlic to add to our loaf. It's not even a full tablespoon.
And we put in our rosemary, 1 tablespoon, fresh. And we put in our salt. This is 2 cups of bread flour. And we're going to use our hands and we're going to make a little well. And we're going to put 1 and 1/2 teaspoon of our yeast. And we'll close the top. It's already on basic. It's already set up for light and it will take 3 hours. We turn on the press. And right away, the machine is starting it. So we'll show it to you at the very end, each stages as we go. And we're looking forward to sharing our bread with you. Right, love?
Right.
Meanwhile, time to clean up the kitchen.
The yeast failed. We removed it to a loaf pan and added 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. We allowed the bread to rest for 30 minutes. This method raised the bread slightly.
We decided to take the loaf of bread out of the bread maker. And the reason why is it wasn't looking like it normally looks. So we added a little bit of flour and a teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder. Then I covered it with this damp towel, and the loaf has about doubled in size already, which means our yeast actually is still alive.
But just to make sure, we made sure we put in baking powder and baking soda.
So now it's got a double leavening with the 2. I'm trying to get these wrinkles
Don't worry about
out of the parchment paper, and I just want to shift the loaf a little bit so that we have an even size.
You're playing with my loaf.
It's not sticky anymore. See how not sticky it is?
No, we're either.
Yeah, it's time to go in the oven, and the oven is at 350.
So you missed really the good part when we pulled it out of the bread maker. What a mess that was.
It was a mess.
I had flour everywhere, like the baking drama of the day. It's on our microwave. We're really lucky. We set the timer for 60 minutes, and now we're going to put it in the oven. We're going to use the lower oven. We're going to set the bread in the center.
And now we're going to let you know how it comes out.
Right. Sometimes these things happen. You just have to be quick about thinking how to solve it.
So our bread is almost baked, and we're getting ready to pull it out of the oven. We've got the gloves, we've got the cutting board to test it, and we've got the cooling rack to cool the loaf on when we're done. There's the timer, hitting 0, so Gary's gonna pull the loaf.
Thanks, Sonny. So it looks quite good. Here it is. What we're going to do next is really simple. With parchment paper, you just pull it out. That way you don't have to worry about your pan. And then you just push down the edges, flip it over like this, put on your cooling ring. Now we're actually going to eat this right now.
You have to get out a little butter.
So even though this was a little bit of a fiasco, we didn't panic. We knew about baking soda and baking powder. We also followed the yeast idea of proofing our bread together.
Right.
And now, instead of having nothing, we have something. Okay, so we're going to...
Yeah, cut the heel for you. Cut the next piece for me.
So it's got... Oh, it smells pretty good. It's got a very nice crumb. It's moist. Not that much.
Yeah.
Thicker.
There you go.
This one.
Okay. We're going to get ourselves a couple of plates. It is a savory bread. That's exactly what it is.
Put that back to cool. Going back to eating our vegan butter. Too much. For you.
Take the, do you want it on yours?
Yeah. got a small piece.
Oh no, you got the end piece to do that.
All right, so there's Linda's piece. There's my piece. And we're gonna
Taste it.
tastes nice. The garlic and the rosemary together.
Yeah, it does taste really good. It's
Still
savory
different.
bread.
It's a little bit different than when we made loaf bread. This worked out fine.
It has a very nice light texture. That's what I like.
Okay, so thanks a lot for watching us. A little bit of a strange video, but we managed to pull it off. We came up with some bread for the next 4 days. Have a good day. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
I knew the yeast was expired. This video was to give you an example of what to do in case your yeast doesn't rise. Simply change your bread from a yeast bread to a quick bread. I hope you enjoyed this bread drama. If you like what you see, subscribe. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up.
It would help a little bit if someone took that mask, the lens cover off, right?